whatever name I don't want to name names so that I don't offend people, okay? But tell me, where is Oduduwa Estate? Where is Queen Iziga Gardens? Where is Ubuntu City? Where is Ubuntu City? Do we know the meaning of Ubuntu? If we want to elevate Africa, we have to look inward. We have to, because someone in London is not having the same problem as someone in Africa. Our African, as much as there might be different from North Africa to West Africa, there are general problems that we can all come together to solve. Today, you cannot travel to other African countries without passport. For what? For what? Passport for what? Are we really living in Africa? When all we do in terms of intervention, solution, is to copy what the colonizers are doing. All right, let me keep on. If the spirit of what we are building is still foreign, then we are not developers. We are decorators, painting over the same old system. Yes. Yes, let me repeat that. If the spirit of what we build is still foreign, then we are not developers. We are decorators, painting over the same old systems. Conscious development is the new resistance. Thank God we are in international conscious conference, right? Conscious development is the new resistance. I believe in different kind of real estate. Real estate comes with farms, not just fences. Where every building teaches, not just shelters. Where we build with soul, not just cement. Can you imagine a future where every estate feeds its own people? Where land is held in community trust? Where a child grows up knowing the land is not just grand, it is granding. It's not just grand, it is granding. This is a conscious real estate. This is Africa development. This is the revolution. A message to us all. To developers, if your buildings don't just include the people, if your buildings don't just include the people, you are building monuments to inequality. To investors, if your only goal is return on investment, you may profit. Absolutely, they are profiting, or we are profiting, but you will never leave a legacy. To government, the edge. To government, if you only sell land to the highest bidder, you are auctioning off the future of Africa you claim to build. And to the youth, buy land, learn the land law, protect our soil, plant food, plant ideas, plant vision. This is not just real estate. Truthfully, look at Abuja. Many
Green. Please give him a round of applause. So if you look at everything that we're doing here, you find out that everything is connected, from real estate to education to the future of work to politics to economics to history. They are all intertwined. And until we get them right, we're not going to move from where we are to where we envisage to be. So very quickly, we are going to be bringing the next speaker, which is Dr. Christos Etoka, and he's going to be talking about the future for
because story will always glorify the hunter. Until Africa learn how to write his own story, we will always be what we shouldn't be. Thank God for that lady who spoke about branding. If you go, when she spoke, I just picked up my phone and I wrote Africa on Google. Trust me. You won't see Maitama. You won't see these places that she was trying to project that we should put out there. Instead, you see the futility of Africa. On education, which is one of the most important things in every community or any country. You know, everyone has a plan for Africa. Are you aware? The United States, they do have plans for Africa. Even Russia now has a plan for Africa. They are coming close to Africa. But what is Africa's plan for itself? You see, I'm not here to motivate you. I've come here to remind you that the future of education is not about more information. It's about awakening. And I'm not going to criticize our current educational system, even though I know that it is epileptic. You know what we did? We rejected their technology and accepted their culture. Whereas the Indians, when they were colonized, they said, go with your culture. Give us your technology. You see, Africans, we have lost our identity because we've accepted the virus of Educo. And I will explain that further. If you do not know who you are, you become someone else. Like a great man once said, be yourself, everyone else is taken. A lot of you here, you know Shakespeare, but you don't know any poets from your community or ethnicity. An educational system that is structured, if we write an exam now and I ask you who discovered River Niger and River Benue, you would sit back. As a matter of fact, I saw a meme where they said Kogi men carrying Mongo Park to discover it. They were showing him the road so he can discover it. That is bizarre. An educational system that has infected our minds so deeply that you are measuring the level of my intelligence based on my elocution right now. An educational system that is polluting our minds. That your measure to my intelligence is how impeccable my elocution sounds. You check all my tenses, all the power of oratory. You measure my intelligence from a borrowed language. That's what our education does to us. It pollutes us and lose identity of who we are. You see, when they told me, I prepared honestly, and I told them that I asked my people, get me a calabash. And in my speech today, I was going to give my speech with a calabash and tell you something about the human mind. But they said I have 20 minutes. Our educational system that has polluted our mind, that if you see a masquerade, you tell your kids, don't go close to that masquerade. Make us pass in class and fail in life. Should call it a dislocated curriculum. Dislocated curriculum. Where a mechanical engineering student can't even fix his own generator. Or someone who's not just to speak to every one of you here, but to the thousands and millions leading a protest in 1980. So we have been crying for a better nation, crying for a better continent. It's beyond just what we sit here. We have to do it through education, and education is the key. I'm going to show you that in this conversation quickly. You see, one of the is that we get punished for things in school that will earn us reward in life. Think about it. There were things you were punished for in school that you actually need now. For instance, you were, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I've conditioned as came, we were uneducated. I was talking to someone. I said, how do you think the pyramid of Egypt was built? In symmetrics. The strategy and the mechanism was with men with empowered mind. You see, we are all living a life where we're not meant to live. We're living the life we've been programmed to live. Why? Our educational system. They knew that if we get them with education and religion, we can trap them for centuries. And Africa needs to wake up. We have to understand that the true education is to look within and to awaken your soul intelligence within you. Now, what must we do for the future? I'll tell you. The African oracle must speak again. In every African child, there is a hidden oracle. But colonial masters silenced it. You see, there are gifts in our continent. Gifts in our nation. They demonize everything we had. And it's taking them centuries to even get to the level we were 200-300 years ago. For instance, I'm hearing China now has a technology to hold rain. My grandfather could do that. China is saying they have discovered the technology. My grandfather understood the technology years ago. Or is it what we are saying now that China has discovered a band you wear bullets would enter you. Like, that's bulletproof. There are people. We have this tradition, we have this technology, but we have been infected in our minds to demonize what we have, to lose our identity. And let me tell you, if you are not yourself, you are something smaller than you. Education is not education is not a transfer of facts, rather. It is the empowerment of the mind. And that is why we've all said something here. We all came here to speak on real estate, on branding, on health, so many things. I'm here talking on a marine institution that is in Abuja, in Benin City, and a micro campus in the UK. Now, what is the purpose of this institution? To heal Africans where it matters the most. So I'm not I'm not a doctor who is telling you so much about your problem. I started solving it 3 years ago. Now, every one of you here, you will hear the problem all over again. You keep hearing it. Go on YouTube. There is nothing anybody will say here that is new. But the change that will happen is in the actions we take after now. Africa can only work when we work something out. And I say this to you, that we must be doers of these things we've heard. And I leave you with saying this, that the 20th century built schools, the 21st century, we must build minds. Thank you so much.
Round of applause, please. That was a conversation. And like I said, this program is going to, it has started today. It is going to run till the 12th of this month. And it is going to run with actions packed. And we're going to come up with a communique, as Femi Jubal has said. And everything that has been said here, all our thoughts and ideas are going to be harnessed. And they are going to be pushed to the proper authority so that they can take action. I want to quickly call on the next speaker, who is going to be speaking about the future of work. She's going to on the future of work. She's done this on so many stages, including United Nations stage, including the UK and around the world. And she's going to be sharing a deep insight on how the future of work looks like. Please give her a round of applause again, please.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I think that's better. I'll stand on existing protocol, but I'd love to say thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to stand on this stage and speak about this particular topic, which is something my organization has been shouting about for the best part of, what would I say, about a year and a half now. The future of work. It's titled The Future of Work, but it's not actually the future, it's actually now. I was introduced as engineer Oluwakemi because I am an engineer. I'm an electronic and telecoms engineer. I know in Nigeria then, even in where I was studying then, it was the elect. But I did not want the elect part, so I did the elect and telecoms part, which we just call communications. But by the year 2030, 92 million jobs will be obsolete. A lot of our young people are currently studying, as we speak now in the universities, they are studying things that they will not be able to get a job with, because those jobs will not exist. Globally, we see courses evolving into topics of subjects like environmental engineering. And I know that a few of our universities here in Nigeria have started those particular courses, but it's not enough. We're a population of over 200 and let's just say 20-something million people. Our workforce, age group of people available to work, about 150 million. The graduates, with the courses that they are studying now, with the jobs of today, as they continue to graduate, because I will not say when, because they're graduating regularly, graduate degree to work. Because when we look at the statistics, everybody's always looking at the statistics of unemployment. And our unemployment rate is going down, amazing, beautiful. but our underemployment rate is skyrocketing. I continue to say this every day, and I say, how much do we the business owners in this room, how much do we pay our employees? Is it enough to transport them to work every month, to feed them and pay their bills? The truth is, these people are not in what we call decent work, which is a job that gives you enough economic stability to look after yourself, as well as the people that you're responsible for. And if that's our current situation, then what's going to happen to us by the year 2030? Because the rest of the world knows about what's happening, which is this evolution of work. And I continue to use the word evolution because people say, AI is going to take away our jobs. AI is not taking away jobs. AI is creating new jobs. So it's just for you to jump on the bandwagon and have what they call an added advantage. So regardless what you study in university, I didn't study over here, so there's one amazing thing I love to hear young people say when I say, what are you studying at the moment in university? They just call these really weird, random subjects. And I'm like, so why did you choose that? What was the drive behind you choosing botanics? Or that's what they gave me. So regardless the situation you find yourself with, that's what they gave you. The onus is now upon yourself, as I tell young people, to make sure that you have an added advantage. Ensure that you have something that you add on to it. I studied elect and telecoms, then I did networking. And then I'm actually more in the PR world. And now I think I have a social enterprise, and I think I did a bit of, where we call it political or governance, for about 8 years. But you see, myself daily at, right? So light and a phone, because there's so much money to be doing content. So I'd rather do that than be grinding pepper of how much every day. So we said creative industry, the tech industry, the health industry, which I believe encompasses the care industry. Because when you're talking the health industry, now I was watching these funny things that I watch, and they had this, what do you want to call it now? Was it some kind of 3D schematics where that's gone in and probed the body, some kind of x-ray situation, and then they've seen how do we move this and move that and be right, before they've even physically gone in. So you see, as much as you're a doctor, we had doctors in the days that would say, if you have catarrh, as they used to call it back in the day, you had catarrh, they will bleed you. And if they bleed you and some blood comes out, then the catarrh will go away. And that was the way, before modern day medicine came in, or you have certain herbs that you eat and things like that. But now, it's evolved into where we are now. But it's going to continue to evolve. So if you are a bleeding doctor from then, you can't work with the new technology of today. But as long as you can use, I'm not a medical person, so as long as you can use the AI type probe to, first of all, examine your patient before you physically go in, you'll still have a job. But if you can't use AI in that particular situation, you will not have a job. So we've said health, we've said AI tech, we've said creative industry, upskilling, training. This industry of being able to train, because people need to use the new skills that are making waves, and they need to learn how to use them. So it's one of the major ones. And would you believe sport is a major one as well? See how when our beautiful ladies have done what they've done over the last 2 weeks, we've seen this massive national unity. Even people that were not happy with certain people before, we're smiling with them now because our girls have made us smile with them, and tomorrow we'll fight them for the price of oil. But for today, we're happy with them because they've made our girls, happy, and or the athletes. Sports physiotherapists. There's so much going on in the sports ecosystem. So as much as I was in sport, I was ICT in sport. So what I did was manage the ministry's website. And all other, we have a competition, you need form, you need this. That was all I did. Make sure everybody is using the right email and we're all on Galaxy Backbone and what the necessary. That's what I did in sport. So I was a tech person in sport. And I remember when we were equipping some of our stadia as well as our facilities, there's the scoreboard, there's the walk it, all these things that are needed in the sports ecosystem that if you're not a tech person, you buy them the wrong scoreboard. And it will take 1 second of Toby Emotions, what do you call it now? Any sports people in the room? Sorry? Record. So in your own, whatever you are using to measure how, back in Nigeria, she has run 9 seconds. Whereas if you use the up-to-date one, it would have been 7.5 seconds. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying, I'm just saying like, can you change your owners of businesses, policy developers. We're not in the business of creating policies, but we can assist in the developing of those policies. Because there are 1,000,001 times, that we're called to the National Assembly for open hearings and things like that. And we can give our own 2 cents, own input. And that ecosystem is in one. Are we taking the young man outside? It's just a bit distracting. Thank you. Okay, so where was I? So first and foremost, we need to develop policies. We need to educate. So okay, so sorry. Let me try and move on. So yes, we are talking about. We spoke about training. So what we need to do. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought, but I'll get back there. So what's very, very important now as well is the mindset, critical thinking, mindset, and emotional stability. So now we're looking at a fact of. Oh my. Okay, let's just give a few minutes. To also listen. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to wrap up, even though I think we've all got the crux of what I was saying about the future of work, right? Yeah, thank you. I love you. Thank you. I've lost where I was going. No, I'm not even angry. I'm just trying to think. Do you remember where I was? What I'm just trying to say is that, in a nutshell, is that let's just understand what the future is going to provide for us, the opportunities that are potentially available. And let's now position ourselves in that position where we can leverage those opportunities on a global stage to get one or two things. The first thing I'll say is, if you mount yourself on a marble chair and table in the middle of a swamp, you are still in a swamp. But if you use a little bit of those resources to just make some kind of wooden floor for everyone in that swamp, you may no longer have a marble chair and table, but at least everyone in that swamp is a little bit elevated. That's number one. And number two, I don't know if you've picked it from my accent, but I've said it a million times. I was not born here. I was not raised here. I came to Nigeria 11 years ago. I worked for the government for 8 years. And it's been an amazing time. I am not going anywhere because I see something so beautiful and amazing here in Nigeria. I have 2 stores, brick and mortar in Wuse, where I sell things. And I used to import things, London things, American things to sell over here. But when Forex started doing me like this, what did I do? I called my tailor people and I said, how do we do this? And I called Abba and they started sending me fabric. And I started making fabric. So now, yes, they mentioned it when they introduced me just now, that I give speeches all around the world. I do United Nations General Assembly every year. When I'm going with suitcases of my Nigerian design clothes. Because I've now thought, this thing is a bit choky. How do I deal? And what I now do is I create my own outfits and I export. So as much as I'm speaking plenty grammar, I'm still a fashion designer, seller, hub person. Because I've seen that I'm making money in dollars and pounds while I'm domiciled here in Nigeria. Let's just do the math. And I need our young people to understand this mathematics. In my opinion, for you to live comfortably in London, you must be earning at least £3,000. Because your house rent is borderline about 1,000 something. Your transport to work, you're looking at about £500. You see people say that London people don't like to spend money when they come to Nigeria. It's because they don't have it. It's not because they're stingy. It's just, by the time they do the mathematics, they don't have disposable income. But imagine you are living in wherever you are living in right now. Some of us we own our own houses. Some of us are still living in our parents' house. But as long as you're modest and you're not earning, the billions, your house rent should be borderline 5 million. That's per annum. So if you're domiciled here in Nigeria and you're doing a remote job somewhere in the world where you're earning that £3,000, please tell me, how will you be living? So these opportunities exist. Hybrid working exists. But why can't we do a lot of remote working here? Even though a lot of people are doing it. But what are the bottlenecks to remote working here in Nigeria? 3 things. The first one is infrastructure. And that's the lights and the internet and things like that. And then the second one is actually us. Our mindset. Alone and how to achieve your own KPIs and things like that. But a lot of our workforce here in Nigeria are not being taught that. You are a below excellent person. If you don't show up with respect, if you disrespect me, do you know I'm not less of a person because you spoke to me in a derogatory manner? I know who I am. The reason you spoke to me in a derogatory manner is because you don't. Because when you know what you carry, you will never, ever speak to another human being that way. And that's how we have to look at it. And sometimes, you know the way I look at it now? I may be fortunate. I'm not going to say I am. I may have been fortunate to have a different type of education. And an education that teaches 360. So as much as I studied engineering, we also had business modules, and we actually went to build. Oh God, we did so much. So it made my own thinking different. Certain way. Understand that that person's background is different. So, and that's the problem with marriages nowadays, where you have two husband and wife. One is coming from an environment where they don't talk feelings, and one is coming from an environment that they talk feelings. They can never just come together and be on the same platform at the same time. No. So you need to understand that in the workplace as well, that everybody is coming from a different background. So when you meet certain types of bottlenecks, disrespect, whatever it is, you actually feel sorry for that person. To say, I wish you had come from the background that I've been so privileged to have this background. So do you know what we're going to do? We're going to educate you to come along with us on that background. And these are some of the things that we need to have in our workplace, because in our day, this is Gen Zs of now. In our day, you go to work. But now you hear, oh, don't work too hard Monday. Have a mental break Tuesday. I can't come to work because an excuse. The excuse in America. So, but our children will be. Swamp are our people. So if we don't create that wooden floor for them, we are also going to sink. And then the future of work does not only belong to the employee. There's a massive evolution also for the employer. Because now we women are saying, oh, we want more. But women need to understand that we need maternity leave. We need time to run equal rights. We want these equal rights. We don't see these, or do we want to call them? Employers need to. These are going to be, this is the evolution positions, but they can do X, Y, Z, and ABC. So that's in general the evolution of work and how the future of work will affect each and every one of us. And thank you so much. And when the 2030 time comes and the 92 million jobs are evolving globally, as you're sitting here in this room, I want you to think about, how does that affect your job? How does that affect your organization? Or how does that affect your balance sheet at the end of the month or the end of the year? So what's important now is, we've heard this. We know about this. And what are we going to do about it? Africa doesn't need us to continue to shout about what doesn't exist. It needs us to look at what is tangible and work with it in order for Africa to still be on par with other continents, because it's not just the country, it's the whole continent. I know for a fact that the UK and the US have massive papers and studies on the future of work, and how the work pension and work departments are navigating it. But my question is, do we have that here in Nigeria? Has Africa provided this particular blueprint that we can adapt and adopt per country? Because one thing we need to understand about Nigeria, or about Africa as a whole, is that we are different. So we can't just take what's being done, Nigeria can't just take what's being done in Switzerland and say we want to adopt it. Because our population, our climate, our diversity, our religions, everything differs. So we have to take what's being done in Switzerland, break it down into molecules, and then adapt it to how it can work for us before we can adopt it. I hope that now we have a better understanding of what the future of work looks like for each and every one of us. And somewhere in our minds right now, we're trying to position either ourselves or our businesses for the evolution of work. Thank you so much, and do have a good afternoon. Is that all I got for talking so much? Thank you.
Anne deserves a better round of applause, please. So somebody said everything has already been said, but since nobody was listening, we have to say it again, right? So while she was doing her presentation, an episode erupted just behind there, and of course, we're energy beings, and a lot is happening. So we just have to manage our energy and then get our focus right. We remember the theme for ICC 2025, right? Do we? Okay, so when I say ICC, we say what? ICC. ICC. Okay, so I want us to just take a 2-minute networking break. You've heard from different speakers. Nothing stops you from walking to them, network with them, get their numbers, and then keep the conversation ongoing. We'll just take 2 minutes, and when we come back, we're going to be having Honorable Lovett to take us on ladies in politics. So let's just take 2 minutes and stretch our legs and then network and then get back.
Sans l'union, on ne peut rien faire. Tant qu'il n'y a pas de paix, l'Afrique restera déchirée. Un jour, un fleur va venir sortir, qu'on va l'appeler le Congo. Et que c'est Congo qui va arroser son parfum d'odeur dans toutes les États voisins.
We moved from there to neo-colonialism, which is what we are suffering now. In Latin, neo means new, for the sake of your listeners, which is economic and cultural slavery, actually. Now, I don't know about you, but that verse bothered me a lot. Abundance, I'm struggling to see the abundance. And most people say, oh, it's because your leaders are corrupt, they steal too much. Who told you there's no theft by leaders in Asia, in America, and in the West? The difference is they're stealing for themselves. Here, the difference is our leaders are forced to open pathways for them to still benefit Europe and still benefit whoever. And if people say, no, that's not the truth, I always ask them, so show me, where's Sankara? Is he still alive? Is Lumumba still alive? Is Steve Biko still alive? Is Magufuli still alive? I mean, the list goes on. So those things bothered me.
Your problem is that you
meant that you bleach to get like the white man. Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. You know, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you?
So the problem we have today is that we have been brought up to believe that Yoruba language is a vernacular, it is inferior. The white man who said that does not speak Yoruba. If somebody comes for break in school, when you speak for break in school, when you speak vernacular, you pay.
See, we can just feel them. If you are sitting at the back, please come forward. This is more like a family gathering, like I said from the beginning of the event. We cannot have a scandal. ICC. I want a uniform response, please. ICC. Awesome. So the next speaker is Honorable Lovett. Honorable Lovett Izeko. Please give her a round of applause as her citation is being rendered.
Honorable Izeko Lovett is a dynamic leader, development expert, and CEO of Avet Limited, where she blends real estate, hospitality, and public service with visionary impact.